And now I want to introduce you to James Pinchbeck. And it's my absolute pleasure to welcome James to the stage. He is the chair of the Innovation Commission, and he's here today to launch our Innovation Routemap. This has been led by the Greater Lincolnshire Innovation Commission, and it brings together leading local and regional expertise from the private sector, from academia and national agencies, and it's been convened by the Greater Lincolnshire LEP and the University of Lincoln. James is the Chief Marketing Officer at Streets Chartered Accountants, and he's got over 25 years of experience in leading strategic marketing development in line with growth strategies. He's the lead director of SBC Global Alliance, and as part of a wider interest in enterprise and education, is a non-executive director and chair of the regional enterprise agency, MBV Enterprise Solutions. To tell us all about the launch of the Routemap, please welcome James Pinchbeck.
Thank you. If I may, I'll just warn you that I had my phone on non-discoverable, so when I get home, hopefully I won't have any pictures of pimples that my wife will wonder what I'm looking at. The other thing is there's not many people wearing ties in the room today, and I'm not a fashion Luddite. I'm wearing it as a northern neck warmer. Many people, surely gentlemen who will walk out of here, will probably feel a chill. I won't. So I commend those wearing a tie. The point of that actually is we often need to look at things differently. So if it becomes a northern neck walker, probably I don't need the full length of the tie. Perhaps I need a different tie. It also allows me to reuse my tie collection. If I may, there's a lot of conversation about education, and we've talked a lot about higher education. I also think there's a real need to address primary and secondary education. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she says they're beating the creativity out of me at school. We're too focused on performance and outcomes, and actually we need to imagine that lower level of education that preempts higher education. I can say that because many of you know in the room I have a passion for education, both with the university and Lincoln College. Also, can I just thank Tim for all the work he's doing with avocados. I'm a big fan of avocados, not least for the health benefit. I'll give you a plug. And it's great that they last longer and are in better condition. As Nikki kindly said at the beginning, I've been chairing for the last 10 months the Innovation Commission. An unusual role for somebody from an accountancy firm, but I do actually have a passion for innovation. Even accountants need to innovate, and many accountants probably today won't exist tomorrow. I did actually think in Brett's presentation it was quite interesting that there was no reference to an innovation director. And perhaps that's because we all need to innovate. I'd also like just to stress before I start to move on to the report that actually it's been brilliant. We've talked a lot about technology. The focus has been about AI, but actually for a lot of traditional businesses, sometimes it's just doing something differently. It isn't all about white coats and high levels of science and R&D. It's just, as Mark Webster kindly said, it's about identifying a problem and coming up with a solution. That may be to you running your business, it may be for your customers or clients, and it may be for the marketplace in the future. Anyway, moving on. The Innovation Commission, as I say, has operated for about 10 months. It was joined by a group of businesses and partners from the public and education sector to develop an evidence base for Greater Lincolnshire on innovation activity and recommendations on how to increase levels of innovation. We've heard a lot about the barriers, but also the opportunities. And what we tried to look at was what are the opportunities and the barriers, and how do we create an ecosystem? And I think today's gathering highlights the benefit of an ecosystem. As we've heard this morning from all our speakers, innovation can be significant catalysts for growth, technological advancement and jobs, enabling us all to stay competitive in an ever-growing global marketplace. Innovation and its adoption also plays a key role in terms of improving our region's economic and social prosperity, as well as in helping to make Greater Lincolnshire an attractive place for inward investment and employment opportunities for people moving to the area. Greater Lincolnshire has a rich history of innovation with many world-changing inventions and ideas. From George Bull, one of the founding figures of modern mathematics and logic, who paved the way for what became the digital age. Isaac Newton, born in Woolsthorpe, revolutionised science through the laws of motion, whilst William and Walter Tritton conceived the military tank in 1915 from a Lincolnshire agricultural company. Despite this heritage, today Greater Lincolnshire faces significant challenges in developing and maintaining its pace as an innovation hub. We boast a mix of advanced manufacturing and engineering industries, a nationally important agri-food and agri-tech industry, a world-leading offshore wind and clean energy cluster, a growing ports and logistics sector that supplies much of the surrounding region and the UK, and a nationally recognised defence cluster. Greater Lincolnshire sits poised with many assets needed for innovation-led growth. However, we know that too many businesses are not innovating, and too few are investing strategically in innovation to drive growth. We want to change that. So I'm delighted here today to launch the Greater Lincolnshire Innovation Routemap. The Innovation Routemap sets out through an evidence base what we know about innovation in Lincolnshire compared to other places, and also lays out the recommended actions that the Innovation Commission believes should be undertaken to increase innovation levels in the short and longer term. We know, for instance, we have a small number of large businesses who tend to invest more in innovation than small firms. Innovation jobs represent only 1.8% of the total jobs compared to 4.4% nationally. 60% of innovation jobs are in three small areas of Lincolnshire. The recommendations set out actions to support the broad SME community and raise awareness of business support and funding available for small businesses in Lincolnshire, as well as ambitious programmes and proposals to accelerate our innovation assets in big data and AI, food security and clean energy. Innovation is recognised as a core strand of the proposed devolution deal for Greater Lincolnshire, with a proposal to form an innovation board. Amongst other ambitions for other key sectors, we want therefore to raise the awareness with local leaders about the actions that can be undertaken and to influence the national agencies responsible for innovation funding to work more closely with Greater Lincolnshire. The Routemap was funded by Greater Lincolnshire Local Enterprise Partnership and the University of Lincoln, and it was made possible by the voluntary commitment and expert input drawn from our business leaders and innovators and public institutions, and to them I offer my thanks. I must say it was probably one of the most enjoyable experiences talking innovation with a cluster of people who are really passionate about innovation and enterprise, so thank you, my personal thanks. We're confident that with the right resources and working with our employers, colleges and training providers, universities and partners, we can now really take advantage of strengths and potential to make Greater Lincolnshire a region with a thriving innovative culture at its core. And by nurturing and embracing innovation, we will attract more investment, create higher value jobs and develop solutions to pressing societal and environmental changes. So I'm delighted here today to launch the Greater Lincolnshire Innovation Routemap. The Routemap is available through a QR code on the conference programme and hard copies on the LEP stand. I would encourage you to talk to us about business growth and innovation. Please visit the Business Lincolnshire website and its dedicated pages on innovation, or speak to a member of the team here today. Thank you.
Thank you, James. The production of the Routemap really paves the way for working with our fantastic employers, colleges, training providers, universities and partners, and we can now start to take advantage of our strengths and potential to make Greater Lincolnshire a region that's thriving, innovative culture at its core. And really that's what we've been talking about today, isn't it? And some great examples of how we're already doing that, and the Routemap gives us a way to take that forward. By nurturing and embracing innovation, we absolutely have the opportunity to attract more investment, to create higher value jobs, and to develop solutions to the problems that many of us have referred to today. It's fantastic that we've now got this blueprint to take forward, and our thanks go to James and to everybody who's been involved in the Innovation Commission for their commitment and their expert input to make this possible. And I guess with the launch of the Routemap, we come to the conclusion of the formal part of today. And I've been just jotting down some key words, I guess, as we've gone through, of the things that I'm going to be thinking about as I drive home today. And some of the words, I guess, that have come up from time to time. The first one for me is about ambition, and I think Pat spoke earlier about how Lincolnshire has become more ambitious in recent years, and Fiona encouraged us to be ambitious as we're looking at technology and how we move forward. Ursula told us to be ready for opportunities. She also said be lean, but I'm going to focus on being ready for opportunities. And Neil mentioned the power in collaboration, and I think the people that we've seen in the room today and bringing people together is absolutely what the LEP's all about, and a great example of how we can do that. Benedict said share generously, and I think we all experience that with people in Lincolnshire are generous with their time and their information, and that plea to share generously will be sticking with me as I go home. And Brett talked about becoming fascinated with the mundane. Now, that's something I'm going to try and take on as a learning point, because I'm not a detail person, but this idea of being fascinated with the mundane talked to me. And of course, Mark Webb, in absolute typical style, said, you know, we can talk about this, but at some point we've got to do something and somebody's got to do it. And I really like that. And Tim talked about, of course, in trying to do something, often we're going to fail. And that's okay so long as we fail fast and we get on with it. But you know, the one thing that's come up over and over again in all of these conversations, which quite rightly when we're talking about innovation, we're talking about technology, but what we've talked about in everything that is culture and the people that underpin that, and we're nothing without our people. And this idea of creating a culture of innovation and valuing the skills and really investing and developing in the skills of our people, either those that are working in our businesses or organizations, or those that are coming through the education settings are going to be of our people of the future, are absolutely key, I think, to what I'll be taking out of today. The other thing I've heard is a real commitment to driving that culture of innovation across Lincolnshire, and I think the Routemap gives us a framework in which we can do that over the coming years. Which really just brings me, I guess, to the thank yous for the day, because these events don't happen without a huge amount of input, so thank you to everybody who's been involved on the stage today and sharing their knowledge and their passion and their enthusiasm. Thank you to Brett Sinclair, our keynote speaker, who really gave us some different things to think about. Thank you to Ruth and to Pat and to Neil and to Ursula, who over the time of the Greater Lincolnshire LEP have led us to a point where we can have these conversations, and your input today has been fabulously welcome. Thank you to all of the LEP team. I know there are many of you around the room, and I know there's a huge amount of work that has gone into making this happen. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to the partners that have been involved in bringing this day together. But most importantly, thank you to all of you who have taken time out of what I know are really busy schedules to give half of your day to understanding and being enthused about driving economic growth and innovation in Lincolnshire. None of this would be possible without you. This is the end of the formal session, but it is not the end of the day. Most importantly, where Brett started, there is lunch. Where's the food? It's at the end of the room. The demonstration area is still open, and all of the exhibitors that have brought great things along to see are there through the lunch break, and you've got another hour or so of your time to actually be able to keep making those connections and having those conversations. When you do leave us, as the people that provide the emergency response in Lincolnshire, please drive safely. And thank you again for your time.